Can you believe it? Another week down and Punt Pals podcast is back again. Happy Thursday. We are recording on this Thursday afternoon, which is timely because there is no Thursday night footy. Weird for 2026. Nick Kristovic, how you doing?
Great, man. Listeners, going very well. Thanks, mate. I'm up and about this week, despite the lack of Thursday night football. Just excited to get into another potty. We've been pretty consistent the last few weeks, so let's hope we can keep it up, mate.
That's exactly right. And it is very strange not having this Thursday night footy. I mean, what the hell is going on here? 5 Saturday games, which we don't normally have these days. It's very weird, but I don't know. What do you do on a Thursday? Do you watch Netflix? Do you actually spend time with the family? It's a big question.
You go fishing, mate. That's all you do.
You go fishing.
You get those kids to bed and you head to the local groin or rock wall and you just slay some fish, mate. That's what you do on a Thursday night. Get some seafood in the fridge for the weekend.
I love it. Oh, okay. So there's a family element. You're feeding everybody for the week.
Oh, I forgot. I'm not talking to the wife. Yeah, no, it's all about that, mate. Yeah.
That's gold.
It's also just about just getting out there with the lads and having some good yarns on the rock wall there every night time, couple of beers, a few frothies, and putting the SGMs together too, because you've got an extra day to think about all your bets, which also is a good thing, I reckon. Actually,
that's very true. And let's just call it mental health time. You're taking care of you.
Yeah, exactly, mate. You know, men's mental health. It's blue. I think it's Blue Nail kind of campaign at the moment, isn't it? Painted Man.
Oh yeah.
So all lines up, doesn't it? All lines up.
That does work. Blue fin? Is there a blue fin that you can catch?
There might be, mate. There might be. I like it. Geez, you're getting the pitch sorted for me, mate. I appreciate it. But it's been a busy couple of weeks, mate. I know we haven't seen each other for a little while, only on the potty, but there's a good reason for that because we've had plenty on, haven't we?
We really have. Tell me a little bit about you to start with, man. What's been going on in the world of Nick?
Well, mate, a couple of things have been hitting up lately. The 100 comp in England, the T20 equivalent of the Big Bash over there, has been quite good for a bit of cricket fix of the night time.
Really?
Yeah, really dabbling in some weird sports to get my fix late at night. But they have the women's T20 on before and then the men's after. And tuned into a match the other night with the Bison and a bunch of other Australian players going head to head, Australian bowlers versus Australian batsmen. So it's actually been really good. And obviously a few punting markets out there as well have been dabbling in. So that's been good fun, mate. On the racing front, been staying abreast of all of the big staying contests, the big Group 1s in the Northern Hemisphere, Goodwood and Royal Ascot a few weeks ago to kind of try and identify my Melbourne Cup roughies in the futures markets. And then just a normal racing gear for me here, mate. I've had Belmont every weekend. I hosted a big suite of media representatives there on Saturday and that was a really good day. They were blown away by the results out there in terms of the renovation, but also blown away in the punt because it was a rough day, mate. Just roughies getting up, no pike rule action, and it was a tough one for the punters, but it was a good day, mate. So I've been busy.
I'm sure everybody had a good time in the suite though. So even though the punting wasn't great, the drinks would have been flowing, and it would have been a bit of a party, no doubt.
I was in full swing, mate, just making sure I had a good time. And I'm up and about also because the annual boys trip that most listen to the potty for the long term would be aware generally is a weekend of absolute debauchery, but also it usually throws up a few weird sort of events. Like we rolled a car one year. We've done a few interesting things. So looking forward to that. We kick off Wednesday next week at Denmark. So absolutely pumped, man.
I'm so surprised you're still allowed to go to that. You've got 2 kids now. One came this year. You must have spent a lot of points to get that leave pass, Nick Kristovic.
I have, mate. Plenty of brownies. I've got a very good wife. Very lucky in that sense. Some of the other boys, not so lucky. It was a Thursday or Sunday. It's just every year it ends up being, I can probably do the Friday or just the Saturday this year. So I've stayed true. I'm a Thursday or Sunday man and get there early, arrive, do the work, get the fishing done and get home in good shape.
Love that. Do the work. Do the work. I like how that's how you describe it.
Mate, I get there
up and I'm going to do the work.
Well, mate, I get there the night before. This is sort of just an insight into how I operate. I get there the night before, fish around a few places before the boys get there the next Thursday afternoon. I already know where the fish are at, what's biting. They arrive. It's all done for them, mate. The goal's wide open. I just need to participate. So that's what I mean by doing the work, mate.
You're a man of the people. That's what I will say.
Speaking of man of the people, I can see you've been a busy man too.
Yeah, very busy, mate. Probably a couple of things from me that have got me up and about today. So, firstly, I went and played some golf this morning, and it's something I don't usually love going and doing by myself because inevitably you get teamed up with other people, and it's a bit of a lottery as to who you're going to play with, right? So, They send you around in groups of 4. Being a 1, I know I'm going to get grouped up with either 2 or 3 people. And, there's been times where I've met some really good people. And then there's been other times where I'm like, Jesus Christ, I think I'm just going to finish the game early and get the hell out of here.
Let's go to the toilet, guys. Gone.
See ya.
Lex is leaving the car park after hole number 9.
You're not wrong. But today was a good day. I met a couple of blokes who I got teamed up with who are absolute legends. They live around my area. Older fellas. One would have been, I reckon, mid to late 50s. A young looking Italian dude. He owns an accounting firm. He's just sort of sold out and he's semi-retired. And the other bloke would have been he would have been a bit older, so maybe mid-60s or something, and he was a finance guy. And, we just had really good chats, really good fellas, and they invited me to come next week as well at the same time, so I'm going to play golf with them next week.
How good is that?
Was nice.
That's what it's all about, isn't it, mate? Getting a bit of a wider network of blokes you can hang out and drink beers and play golf with. So, no, that's a real treat. What was the actual game like? Were you holding the standard up or were you bringing the average down, mate?
Do you know what? I'm a fast starter and I peter off by the end of the round. So at the start, I was driving them beautifully, for 200 meters straight down the middle. By the end of the game, they're in the woods and, I'm going from left to right and all that sort of stuff. But the other guys, they warmed into it and they were actually very good golf players. So I'm keen to play with them more because they'll bring my standard up. So I think that's a good thing.
Well, you just got to go the full staying contest, mate. Get your eye on the prize. It's getting a bit of fatigue creeps in late. You're probably thinking about getting to the club rooms and having a frothy, but you just got to find that bit of form in the back half of the 9, don't you, mate? Really.
Good motivation from you, and I like that, Nico.
It's all wrong.
Hey, the other thing very quickly that's got me a bit excited today is that Test cricket is back in August. We weren't really expecting this and it crept up on us, but the Aussies are playing Bangladesh today in Darwin. Now, mate, the Aussies are not going well at all. Our top order collapsed. It was horrible.
Okay. Yeah, we had playing a goat track out there in Darwin, or where were we at, mate?
It's actually it's a green top, believe it or not.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a lot in it for the bowlers, but oh my God, we just batted terribly. And I reckon it was a good chance for the Aussies to blood a few young guys. Couldn't even tell you any names of who that should be at the moment.
Lyon's been resurfaced, isn't he? Oh, Gary Lyon? Isn't he bowling?
I don't know. I missed the end of the innings. I missed the last 3 wickets. I assume he's playing though, yeah.
I don't know what you think, mate, but I really struggle with I was watching that 100 tournament and you've got, Australia's test match players playing in some of those games. You've got guys overseas playing in T20 tournaments, not playing for their actual country at times. It's just a weird thing, cricket is, where you don't know who the best team is because there's guys that play across all 3 formats or they're T20 specialists only. They've given up on ODI cricket. So to your point, who are the up-and-comers for each format? I wouldn't be able to tell you. I didn't even know the Bangladesh test was even on. It was just I found out from you, I think. So it doesn't get a lot of running in the media, does it?
It doesn't. It did in the last couple of days, but in the lead up, not at all. And even, I don't know if you saw it, but they did the AB medal in Darwin this year. And it was like a RSL. No one was suited up. They were in their T-shirts. It was a pretty low-key affair this year, which is disappointing because it's normally like the Brownlow medal night,
They need to lift, mate. I saw Travis Head won the award in a, I think it was a turtleneck or something like that. No collar. It was pretty weird.
In a turtleneck.
I know you call it a sports jumper. Maybe that'd be a more appropriate description. But yeah, he was. Put to your point, mate. He wasn't there in his top and tails, ready for the award, was he?
No, he wasn't. No, so it was a bit disappointing. I thought. I mean, I get it that they were over there for cricket, but they could have scheduled that a slightly bit better, really, couldn't they?
Yeah, I reckon, mate. Yeah,
what's going on, Nick? What's going on?
Well, as a marketing man, you just want to know what's coming up. If I wasn't marketing Ascot, racing carnival to the same extent of international cricket, I probably wouldn't have if in their marketing spend, I think.
Well, you would bloody hope so, wouldn't you? You would bloody hope so. But anyway, that's where we are. Hey, mate, do you want to rip straight in with the hero of the week?
I can be your hero, baby. Don't be a hero, mate.
Robbie's Heroes of the Week.
Mate, we've pulled a fully old school opener there as well. It has become heroes of the week. I don't know why my name's in there, but, we progress with what we have.
Been back to Enrique Iglesias there, mate, I think it was. I liked it. Bit of nostalgia.
Bit of Enrique. Yeah. Back to our very first year, I think, on that one. Just a bit of fun.
Peak Punt Pals days, mate.
Exactly. And I've got 2 heroes of the week for you this week. I know you've seen at least one of them, but you had a good laugh. So let's start with that. So we're going to kick off with JC Marahe today. So he's a Brazilian defender in the Brazilian Serie A for Coritiba or Coritiba, something along those lines anyway. So he kicked a goal in the Brazilian Serie A. Now, he is a defender, so it's not something that he does very often. And he's got a kid on the way. So he's actually tucked the ball under his jumper and given the celebration with the fat tummy, which I thought was pretty good. And he jumped over the fence. Problem was, when he went to land, there was no ground. There was a big bloody hole on the other side of the fence. Now, there's a lot of questions about this. I don't know why the hell the hole was there. No one's really confirmed that. Apparently there was stairs in there, so it might have been something to do with the pre-game. Anyway, he twisted his ankle, got subbed up at half-time, and the VAR ruled out the goal in the end. So it wasn't actually included. So he's done his ankle, he's fallen down a hole, and it was all for nothing.
Hero to zero immediately, really, wasn't Robbie? Kind of gives me shades of Game of Thrones, where that lady who runs the castle, where she has the people plead their case and then she presses a button and they just fall down this massive hole and die. Not sure if you've ever seen that. It's Harren Hall or something, but he just disappears down the hole. It's quite funny, isn't it, really? I'm surprised he didn't break a leg, to be honest.
Oh, mate, he was very lucky. He was very lucky.
Very, very good by you. You need to really try and find some less exotic overseas heroes of the week too. It's always hard to pronounce those names, isn't it?
Oh, mate, I'm reading that team name and I just, wasn't easy.
Maranhão Coritiba. Yeah, okay. Well, hopefully, we probably butchered it, but that's all right, mate. That's all we're all about, isn't it?
I don't feel like he's going to come for us. And I do like that you've thrown a Game of Thrones reference in there as well. Big tick.
Yeah, topical.
Mate, second hero of the week I've got for you this week is something that's very close to home for you. So Crooked Colours, Aussie DJ, does big things internationally as well. I believe he goes over to Europe for summer and does all the islands and all that sort of biz, that sort of operator.
Oh, yeah, yep. Living the dream, yep.
Living the dream. Now, he's a big Freo supporter and do you know, I've always enjoyed Kevin Parker's song that they do, Tame Impala. It's usually about... Yes. Keep going.
I'm gonna sing it. Yeah, it's good.
It's a great one. I love it. But Crooked Colours might have gone past him. I don't know if they're going to play this Saturday, but let me play you this song. It goes for about 53 seconds, the clip I've got, but it is worth every single second. You ready?
Absolutely.
From the pool, Freo marching to the top. Hands go up, here's our sound. Babulani shakes the ground. September coast. Here's a harbor roll. Let the whole down now. It's coming up.
It's the breakdown there in the second half. What do you reckon?
Wolfie time's out. Crooked Colours are in. No, look, it gives me World Cup soccer kind of vibes, Euro League sort of vibes. But I tell you what, it gives you that parochial kind of anthem aspect to it, which feels like it'd be a banger on game night, wouldn't it?
100%. I think I said Saturday night before, but Friday night, this playing would be epic.
Yeah, I missed the kind of the words in between. They're a little bit auto-tuned, if you will, but interested to dive a little deeper in terms of what is included in the song.
One thing I do like about that song as well is it is 100% not AI. So he's got a singer in, and they've put that together, and he's DJ'd it, and it's pretty impressive. So
well done,
Crooks Colours.
Question. Well done, Crooks Colours. And we need as much support for Freo as we can at the moment, mate. So I'm all about it.
Love it. All right. Well, that was Hero of the Week. There was some good gear in there today. Unless you've got anything you want to chuck in there, sorry.
Nah, mate, couldn't have done any better than you there. You've gone local and you've gone extravagant overseas somewhere. So I think you've covered the worldwide Hero of the Week segment this week, mate.
I can be your hero, baby.
Don't be a hero, mate. Robbie's Heroes of the Week.
Gold. All right, let's move on to last week's betting. Nico, I don't know how you went. I'm sorry, I didn't get a chance to follow along, so I can't wait to hear. Was it a big win?
Look, mate, no, it wasn't. And it was a couple of legs again in the 10-20s, which let me down. I won't go through them all because we've been on a couple of losing ones in a row here. But I'm going to touch on some trends in the AFL multi-space in the next segment. We talk about our bets for this week. So I'll keep them powder dry until then.
Hey.
How did you go, mate?
To be honest, mate, it was an 8-legger or 10-legger, 8-legger in the end. I was very happy with Paddy Voss kicking the first couple of goals of the game against Freo.
Yeah.
It was nice to just get that early, but in the end, I missed out on Tommy Stewart, who always lets me down, and Tim Taranto. So it was a 47-34 multi. I ended up getting 6 of 8 legs. So didn't quite get over the line, mate.
Tim Taranto, yeah, you'd think he would have fired as well as the only experienced one in that Tigers midfield. But I've got some theories I'll talk to you about a little bit later in terms of why some of these results are quite unusual this time of year.
Ooh,
Ollie Dempsey, 2 goals was a good get by you, I thought, in that multi. He ended up kicking, I think, 3 for the game from memory.
He did, and he kicked his 2 very early as well. The one thing I liked about that Ollie Dempsey leg was it was paying $1.99, and I don't know why. It just really stood out to me. So that was a good one. But, mate, we won't dwell on our losing bets too much this week.
No.
Do you want to go straight into this week?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, let's not look in the revision mirror, mate. Let's look forward because I think there's a couple of things, a couple of insights I wanted to kick off with in terms of AFL same game multis this time of year. And we're not the only punters out there doing it tough, Robbie, I'll be honest. I used to work in wagering for a long time, as you know, mate. And
yes,
the word on the street with the wagering companies is that they have absolutely cleaned up in the last few weeks of AFL action. So,
right.
say 20 cents in the dollar probably goes to the wagering companies on average. You're looking at about 45 cents in the dollar over the last 3 weeks of AFL. And I've got some theories as to why. Looking at my own multis in the weekend, let's use Taranto for an example.
Yeah.
The Richmond are out of the finals. They're going to experiment with that midfield mix. They're going to try and blood young guys in there. They're going to try and find what their round 1 mix looks like for next year. And in order to do that, you've got to expose guys into the midfield, give them minutes and see what they're going to look like moving forward, or you purge them off your list, trade them, whatever. So you're going to put time into youth in the midfield. You're probably going to send your seasoned veterans playing a bit more time down forward, which is probably just the way you're going to play if you're out of the finals and you're looking to see what your mix is going to be for next year. Coaches are tending to experiment a lot as well, like change up their ruck dynamic or play a man behind the ball loose, try and change what they want to do in order to build a game plan for next year. And then you've got teams that aren't even in the mix, mate, that are literally either not interested or completely not playing their best team. And you've got guys and teams that are in the finals playing for a top 4 spot that are just red hot ferocious at the footy. So ultimately what this is leading to, mate, is high rotations through the bench, players being rested like Alex Pearce, who probably in the end would have been the difference between Freo winning and losing that game, which a lot of punters would have had Freo head-to-head in their multis. And then overall, the net effect is you're seeing some really unusual results bob up, and it's probably changed the way I'm thinking about my betting strategies moving forward, which I'll talk to in a bit more detail in a minute.
I like it. That's a really interesting theory. And one thing that stands out to me out of it was when you spoke about veterans and how they're going up forward a lot more. Because in past seasons, we would have seen them get subbed out. Like Pendlebury at this time of the year is probably getting subbed out at halftime and not getting his 20s. But of course, they can't do that this year. So going up forward, whilst it's going to kill your possessions, maybe is it worth looking at goals for those veterans now, do you think?
Well, I think it's veterans and also guys that are maybe playing a lot more through the midfield and the ruck even, like Dogger Jackson spending a lot more time forward the last few weeks just to make sure he's cherry right for the final. So I think there's 2 plays, mate. It's your fantasy points play of last week where they're probably going to kick goals. They might have a down night on possessions, but they probably still get there because they're going to be thrown forward and hit the scoreboard. But what I am also seeing, mate, and this is probably a tip for the punt, is I've ran some numbers. If you look at overs and unders markets, so say Cosby Pickett over 23.5 posies or under 23.5.
Right.
They're going unders a lot more the last few weeks, Robbie. So the bookies have caught up with the guys who were paying good money for 20 plus a few weeks ago at $1.30. They're now $1.08, no value in it.
Yep.
But if you take the unders over the unders markets, you're generally getting an even split both ways. So it'll be like $1.80 for unders or $1.80 for overs. You just need to find a few of those guys who are probably rotating out of the midfield more often, playing forward, that will go under. They're now hitting probably 70% of the time unders, where they were probably only 45 to 50% a few weeks ago. So just a couple of weird ones there. And then the last one I wanted to talk to is just the milestone games. And we touched on it a bit last week, but you're looking at those teams like Paddy Cripps, who's plays his 250th. Carlton obviously get the job done. They've been in good form. But they tend to throw some really strange results, generally speaking, but even more so this time of year when it's the combination of a milestone game plus a team that has nothing to play for example. You see some big blowouts, mate.
Yeah, that's a good point as well. Hey, just an interesting point on the overs and unders, or a question that I've got anyway. So will betting companies look at the player's disposal average? For example, Nick Dacos averages about 35 possessions at the moment, which is as high. I think that's the highest in the league. It would have to be. So will betting companies go, all right, according to Nick Dacos' stats for 2026, he's averaging 35. So we're going to put the line there for over-unders at 35.5, or is there another way they look at it?
They usually make it a little bit more tasty, so it'll be a couple of possessions under his average. They also might look at how he's played against that matchup or that team in past events. There's a bunch of factors that go into it, but primarily they're trying to obviously offer you a possession line which piques your interest. So for Dacos, it might be 33 and under. So he's hit 35 last week. You feel confident in the overs, but he could easily go unders if, say, he runs into an O'Shea Mullen for Geelong. So it's quite a complicated mix in terms of how they come up with it. But as I was saying, backing overs in these 10-20s hasn't paid dividends for me the last few weeks because you're seeing a lot of guys spending a lot of time deep forward or rotating big minutes through the bench. Freo is an example. They need to get minutes into, obviously, Hayden Young, who's been sort of in and out of the team all year. They're trying to get him set for the final. So he's probably going to take minutes off a guy like Sarong or even Shai Bolton in the middle, who then goes under 20, whereas 23, 24 the week before, just purely through the minutes on the ball aspect. So a few weird things I'm noticing, mate, and I'm tending to lean more towards the overs and unders markets when I'm backing singles rather than trying to put a bunch of guys for high possession numbers in my multis.
I think that's really interesting, mate. And you know what? Everything you've said just there goes completely against my Saturday Super Shot multi this week, just quietly. I actually promised you I was going to do the fantasy points Super Shot, and I didn't actually do that. I'm sorry. I've just realized now. So every little bit of logic that you have just sprayed, I'm going to go completely against, and I apologize.
No, it's all right. I can see a couple in there where the logic might work in your favour, mate. So we'll rip into your Saturday Super Shot, which I can see is at big odds again. I think 70 plus to 1, is it?
Yes, it is. So I got boosted odds on this one. And of course, we've got 5 games this Saturday. So I've got a couple of extra legs than what I'd normally have in there as well, which really helped. But this actually came in at about 64. I boosted it to 76. So to very quickly go through it for you, Richmond and St Kilda was the first game on Saturday. I've taken Max Hall from the Saints 27 and Bradley Hill 27. Now, reason I took them both for high possessions is because Nass is out this week, and I think he'd normally take a few extra possessions off these guys. So I think they're both going to have to step up, and that's why I've got them both for 27.
I like it a lot.
North Melbourne and Geelong. So I've gone the 2 big midfielders out of this game. So Bailey Smith, or as we like to call him, Bailey Sniff, 27 plus. And that's well under average for him. He's done that easily the last 5 games at least. Sheasel 25, which he normally does. So you can probably lock those 2 in, mate. Brizzy Lions and the Gold Coast Suns, the Q Clash. It's been a bit under the radar. Ashcroft 30 plus. He's dominating in the second half of the year. And Josh Dunkley at 22 plus. I got this at really good value. It was up around $1.60, I think. And he's done that the last 3 games. But prior to that, he was pretty quiet, Dunkley. He was going in the teens. So I think that's a good little
around
value
too, I think. Joshy Dunkley will be following Matty Rowe pretty closely after his big game last week. So he'll be around the pill.
Is it on that? Isn't Rowell an odd one? He pulls out 40 posies last week, but then he could easily pull out 15.
Yeah, he either runs with another player as a tagger or they set him free. Just set him free permanently, for God's sake. Took Miller's the same. That's why the Gold Coast midfield's hard to find, those 20 pluses or 25 pluses. They rotate those roles each week. Those guys look good, mate. They look good.
Love it, love it. And 2 more, Hawks and Collingwood, which should be a really good game. Nick Watson, very quiet last week. I haven't included him in the multi this week, but I've taken Dacos 33 plus, under average. Jai Newcomb 23 plus. He actually had some really quiet weeks. So you're getting reasonable value for him on possessions at the moment. His last 3 games, he's been back though. So not a bad man to get in there. And finally, Port Adelaide and Melbourne, Tom Sparrow 23 plus. He seems to be the it guy at the Demons at the moment, and he is doing those possessions. And Ollie Wine's been very under the radar this year, mate, but he's consistently getting 23, 24 possessions, so I've taken him for 21 plus.
Yeah, I think JHF is also injured too, so he will obviously see a bit more time through there too. No, it looks good, mate. The only thing I'd say in the North Melbourne Geelong game is just O'Shane Mullen. Does he go to Harry Sheasel or does he spend some time with LDU? That could be the only thing that brings you unstuck, I guess. Big
question. Yeah, Sheasel they may throw across the half back line a little bit. They've done that in previous years. He tends to play a lot more midfield now. So it's a great shout, and hopefully he can break that tag, or hopefully he goes to UDL.
I've been kicking some goals too, your man Sheasy too. So
Sheasy boy.
It's another one to have a look at. Sheasel. He's playing a bit more forward of the centre. So no, that looks very juicy, mate. The one thing I would say, the bloody Watson last week, I can't believe they got belted by 67 points, Hawks, against the Lions. Expect them to bounce, but you talked about him, potentially rivaling for the Coleman medal. Yeah. Goes off 5 goals the week before at a half to 0, I think it was in the end.
Mate, his last 7 weeks, he's had 3-3-5, 3-3-5, 0. So last 6 weeks or 7 weeks, whatever it is, he's kicked hoops of goals and then just nothing.
Yeah, mind you, teams like Brisbane have gone on an absolute tear during that time as well. So you can see why Brizzy got the job done, but it doesn't make it any easier if you've got Watson any time at $1.05 just to boost your multi a bit after 5 the week before and he doesn't score a goal at all. So, yeah, I know plenty of guys in that boat.
It hurts. What about you, mate? Are you doing the 10-10-20 this week, or are you giving Tiger a rest?
I'm going to give Tiger a rest for this week, mate.
Oh, controversial.
I know it is controversial, but
the people want it.
I know. Well, they can have it next week. This week, this week I'm going at a little more conservative because after all, we are about results here, mate. Punt Pals podcast, we pay the bills is the intro song after all. So, Dublin. We love the Dublin in our last series of the Punt Pals podcast. The Dublin is, of course, a 2-1 multi, which just keeps your balance ticking over. And I've got one this week.
Hello.
Hawks to beat Collingwood. I think Collingwood are a bit overrated. I expect the Hawks will be absolutely bolstered to try and win after last week, mate. They will. I think the Lions will beat up on the Suns in the Q clash. Obviously trying to lock down a top 4 spot. The Suns have been very average. I think that midfield will absolutely destroy them. And then Saints, despite them being a little bit wounded, I think they'll beat Richmond. They need to try and remain in contention for that wild card spot. So that theory of having a lot more to play for, I think that's a nice little one at $2.05 to cover your bets for the weekend. And the other bet I'm going to have, mate, is in the Friday night game. The Freo SGM, which is one I had a lot of success with last year, and I've tried to move away from it and paid the price. So here we go.
Hello.
9 legs. Caleb Sarong, 20 plus. Brayshaw, 21 plus. Shai Bolton, 1 goal. Been playing a lot more down forward than through the middle since he returned a couple of weeks ago after a couple of weeks off. Jordan Dawson, 20 plus. I think he will be, again, quite prolific with the footy.
Take that
Rankin. Unbelievable last week, wasn't he, Isaac Rankin? I think it was the top game in terms of champion data points for the last 2 or 3 seasons individually, which is just ridiculous.
It's crazy.
20 plus for him and a goal. I like him in front of goal. They really run a lot of set plays to try and make sure they put it down his throat within 15 metres of goal at stoppage. So look for him to bob up. Amos for 2, who came off 5 last week. Hayden Young, building him into it. I think 15 plus for him. He'll be one they'll probably put some more minutes into through the midfield and half back. And then Joshy Tracy, 2 plus. So all up, that one's paying $9.25, mate. The Freo SGM 9-legger.
I love that. I love that. Hey, question for you. I was thinking about this the other day. So Freo are in the grand final. They're 5 points down, 30 seconds to go.
Mm-hmm.
There's a burst out of the middle. Let's say Caleb Sarong takes the ball. He boots it. It goes into the 50-metre arc. It's about 35 out, pretty much straight in front. There's a mark taken. There's a shot for goal. Who are you putting your life on to kick that goal? Because by the time the boot sinks into the ball, the siren's gone. So this is going to be after the siren. Win the grand final, to win the premiership, this goal must be kicked by Fremantle. Who are you having the shot? Who's having the shot?
Oh, it's a very tough question. I'm going to put my faith in Never Miss, of course, Giant Miss, who in the last few weeks has probably been the most reliable, mate. Josh Tracy seems to be missing them. Voss has had a really good week last game, but prior to that, he was a little bit inconsistent. I think Amos is a guy who generally stays close to home. That's why he's always that target deep. And I think that left foot of his is probably a bit more short up than the other two. Tracy will kick the leather off it, put it into the top fourth tier of the stand. And Vossi, well, he's been good, but a little bit patchy. So that's how I would go. On Freo, obviously they lost on the weekend. I think they will take a lot out of that, Robbie. You'll see Paddy Voss streaming inside 50 in the last 3 minutes of the game. He has 2 players on goal side, and he tries to kick that one from 50, and obviously it misses, and we're going to lose the game. But I think that forward line, they just probably went away from the things they've been doing all year really selflessly, and I think that's probably the reminder they needed, that if you try and play champagne footy when it's a goal in it, you probably don't end up on the right side of the ledger as often as you'd hope. So, just saw some things I didn't really like from that Freo forward line on the weekend.
Yep, that's a good call. Well, just to sort of put a full stop on that question as well, I'm saying, imagine Paddy Voss, if he kicks that goal, the celebration, the sprint, everyone running after him. I would love to see that, mate. So hopefully that's what happens this year against the
jersey
Lions.
comes off, doesn't it, mate? The big chest comes out, doesn't it?
Oh, he rips it off himself.
Yeah,
it's not someone else ripping it off him for once.
I reckon it's Hulk Hogan style, but they're a good three-prong attack. No doubt they'll be prominent in the finals, but I think it's just going to be a case of whether they can kick them straight on the day, mate. That's the big concern for me on the big stage.
Love it. All right, mate. Well, that's our footy bets for this week. We'll try and get them up on the socials, and we'll move on to racing. And I want to ask you a question first up, because something that's big here in WA is the Western Trilogy. Of course, it happens every year around about that Easter period, really, isn't it? I heard a sneaky rumour that things are underway with the Western Trilogy already. What's happening there?
Look, it's a long tail, mate. I guess for those who aren't aware of what Western Trilogy is, it's the world's only tri-code slot race series. So there's a slot race in the Greyhounds, there's a slot race in the Harness here at Gloucester Park, and there's a slot race here at Ascot, my employer, for a massive $5 million paycheck. So,
and that's the big one.
Check.
That's the marquee race.
Yeah, that's the penultimate kind of finale to the Western Trilogy on the Saturday. The 2 events occur obviously prior in the week, Friday night at Gloucester Park and then a little earlier at Cannington in the week. But, mate, it's really that time of year where we start to sound out our interest for slot holders on the East Coast. The big wagering companies generally buy a slot, and they're starting to talk to those trainers a long way out about securing the services of their star horses to come over here and try and take some of that prize money home. So we've seen Overpass, we've seen a bunch at Jigsaw won this year, obviously. So these interstate raiders have a really good record on the race, and now's the time where the slots start to take shape and the trainer conversations start to occur with owners and those types of things to try and see if the trainers are keen to bring their horses over. And what wouldn't you really when they've had such a good record in the race?
So how can we go about getting a Punt Pals podcast slot this year? Because that's what I want, mate. I don't know whether we got to syndicate it out or we can just get a hold of one. What's it going to cost us? And I don't want to be in any of the the trots or the greyhounds. Shout out to those guys. They do a great job, but I want to be on the thoroughbreds. How are we going to do this?
Well, mate, it's a very, we did the $100 to $1,000 challenge.
Yeah.
We might have to do $1,000 to $200,000 challenge to buy the slot.
Yeah, no dramas.
No, there's a number of ways you can skin a cat, mate. For lack of a better phrase, Ram Racing, they syndicate their own slot out to individual shareholders.
Yep.
So I guess the cool thing about the Quokka is you don't necessarily have to run sort of top 5, top 6 to get your money back. Your break-even point's probably, well down the field. So you just need to run a competitive race and, any horse on its day in a sprint contest over 1,200 metres here at Ascot can have its fair share of luck or be unlucky in the run. And, they tend to throw up some interesting results. So everyone will be watching that field, seeing who's coming over, and then obviously there'll be the local hopes like Rope Them In and Joker's Grin who went around last year. They'll be flying the flag for WA to try and retain that prize money. Magnificent Andy, West Star, there's a few that went around last year. So I look at the Group 2, Group 3 events at Belmont, and I'm always trying to find a couple that could even come on rather quickly and be those up-and-comers that might get in at a low weight that could rival some of these interstate horses that are proven performers. So that's where I like to kind of pique my interest, mate.
Anything that you're looking at the moment where you go, "Ooh, this could be something that's a chance for the Quokka come"? What are we looking at? March, April? When's
April, mate. Yeah, mid-April's the Quokka. So it's a long way away. And for those who don't understand race scheduling, probably the detail that I do, I guess Winterbottom Stakes is the Group 1 sprint race over 1,200 metres during the Pinnacles here in December.
Yes, great race.
Late November. So that's the one that you probably look at as the leader. Those horses that win that race are going to be competitive, no doubt, in the Quokka over the same distance several months later. So I've got a couple I'm looking at, mate. And just a FYI, the Interstate Raiders trifected the race last year in the Winterbottom. Libertat, Overpass and Ray Magnerio 1, 2, 3. And Rope Them In was the best WA horse, which finished 4th. So you tend to look at the interstate runners coming over. There's a couple locally I like to answer your question, mate. Now You See Me.
Oh, great name.
Yeah, not a bad name at all by Sue Olive, trained by Sue Olive. Whilst it was only up in Broome, it broke a track record over 1,300 metres up there, went to the front kind of Pride of Jenny style and just blew them away, had them off a bit a long way out.
Beautiful.
It's $21 in the Winterbottom right now. It's one of those horses that you're probably just going to take at the price and hope that it comes on, but I do like when they break track records, and whilst it's a weaker field, if it does come down to Perth and do some good things in the next few weeks, it could be much shorter than that come Winterbottom day. And another one I really, really liked, mate, was the run of Cinquestel, the winner of race 6 at Belmont on the weekend with Willie Pike in the saddle. The track pattern
you've been hyping this up, mate. Tell us about what happened here.
Mate, I don't know. There's been a few races over my tenure in racing where you watch a runner, you see it for the first time and you're taken by the mounting yard. You're taken by the way it races against the track pattern. And this is certainly an example on the weekend. It's a 4-year-old mare by Toronado, who was a, renowned sprinter, really stocky, muscly horse. And all the winners were coming down the outside in the best part of the track on a heavy day at Belmont. So you try and get away from the rail, get on the outside where the going's better and find that fast lane and run over the top of them late. And that's how they were kind of winning throughout the day. Now You See Me, Cinquestel, goes up the inside on Pike this time, after Pike had won on the outside the race prior, takes the run on the inside in the worst part of the track, goes away from them, leaves them in its wake, wins by 4 going away from under a hold. I was really taken by the Bob Peters colours there off Cinquestel, and I think it's on to bigger and better things down the track towards the start of Ascot. So I'm putting in the Black Book. I'm putting Now You See Me in the Black Book, and of course Rope Them In is the one that I've followed every start. 6-year-old gelding by Playing God, 4th, as I said, in the Winterbottom last year. Was a dominant winner in the Group 3 Roma Cup over 1,100 metres at Ascot in April, a second in the Belmont Sprint recently over 1,400, and then third in the Group 3 Hyperion over 1,600. It's a quality local horse and has many options going forward. So I literally just follow it in everything. It's in the Black Book, mate.
Love that. Hey, when's the crossover from Belmont to Ascot? It'd still be a little bit away, isn't it?
October 10th, mate, I believe.
October 10th. Okay, so a few months off yet.
Yeah, October 10th. So we've got a couple of months, but yeah, you don't sort of, I guess, as a punter, the tip is don't wait until Ascot kicks off and wait for horses first up. You got to watch those horses that are going to Ascot, maybe second, third up, fitness on their side, and have perhaps bob up at big odds before those season performers have a few runs under their belt. So that's when the money's made, mate, I reckon.
Good from you. So a few horses to Black Book there. We've got Rope Them In, Cinquestella, and Now You See Me. So let's definitely get those in our Tab Touch black books, Nico.
Yeah, we'll give you an update as they race when they're coming up, and we'll follow them with keen interest, mate.
Love that from you. All right, so races again this Saturday. What's the main event at Belmont this Saturday, by the way?
The main event at Belmont is not what you'd call a Group 2 or Group 3 contest. It's only for $100,000. The Blue Spec Stakes on Saturday at Belmont. And just having a brief look at the field there, Robbie. It's race 7, jumps at 420. You've got a horse that won last week in Lillian. That's a horse I was talking about where Pike went down the outside. It's $2.50 favourite in the race. Grantham and Pat Carby riding. But the one I am a little bit keen on, mate, is Two Darty for Justine Erklin's number 5. It was $7 and $2 for the place. Love the name, obviously, but it was a very nice run last start where it won in quite dominant fashion. And whilst it's standing up in grade, benchmark 84 here, I think Two Darty's a good price at $7 and $2 for the place each way.
You and I got on that when we were at Belmont a few weeks back, actually, Two Darty.
We did, mate. Yep.
I can't actually remember what it did.
Wasn't good, I don't think. I think it was first up. So it's come on now. That's always the way. You're back at 1 week. It doesn't run well. Second up, bit fitter, wins the race at big odds. So there's a couple of good ones going around.
Is up.
That's it, mate. So, yeah, it's a good race, but not that sort of Group 2, Group 3 level we've been seeing in prior weeks. It builds again in next weekend.
Beautiful. Love that from you. Hey, mate, we might finish off with a couple of very quick listener questions before we close out Punt Pals podcast for the day. We've just got a question each this week. So do you want me to get started for you?
Oh, mate, I'm gonna jump straight in there from Taylor of Balga. For you, Robbie, the coaching battle for Carlton and Essendon is hotting up. Who gets the 2 jobs? This is the biggest team in sport at the moment, I reckon.
It's so interesting, isn't it? Essendon, I think, is harder to pick because I wouldn't be surprised if Hurdy got it, but Mark McVeigh sounds like he's the hot contender at the moment, and then Jamie Graham could just be this bolter that comes through and gets it. I mean, he's had a successful I guess, operation there at Freo at the moment. But do you know what? From an Essendon perspective, I reckon I would like to see McVeigh and Hurd do it in some sort of team together, but I reckon Hurdy gets it. I just think it's one of those things where the calls have been so loud for so long. If he doesn't get it this time, those calls are just going to keep going. So they just need to give it to him, get it out of the system. It's either going to be a burning mess and we haven't really lost anything because we're still in the same position we were before, or it'll be a raging success and we win a flag or we make the finals or whatever. So just give it to Hurdy. Hurd is the word, and he will be the Essendon coach in 2027.
Yeah, I like it, mate. I like it. And I think he galvanises the club, brings back the former greats, probably fixes some of the culture issues which can erode the performance of the head coach, I think. So I think if you just look at his resume, you probably say he probably isn't the best option out there, but you've got to look deeper than that, I think, at Essendon and think, well, how are we bringing back all the legends and the history and the culture around the business, and then from there the results will flow, is my sort of thoughts.
Agree, and I think that's what the fans want. So that's why I don't hate a team up of McVeigh, because he's been in the system for the last 10 years and he's up with modern footy. He's the tactician. Hurd is the beater of the drums.
Yes.
And if they could work in tandem, I think that would be amazing. So let's see if that happens.
I hope so.
Mate, as far as Carlton goes, I reckon it would be the most Carlton thing to ever do for Carlton not to give Josh Fraser the job. I mean, he has had one of the most successful auditions you'll ever see. He has to be the coach in 2027. If he's not, it is the most idiotic decision I've seen in my life. I just don't see a world where you can't give Josh Fraser the job.
Well, to your point, mate, I guess, what would the message be if you've won 9 of your last 11 games? I think the stat is 7 of 9, something stupid like that. Yeah. And you say, sorry, boys, we're going to go in a completely unproven different direction.
You can't do it, surely.
Like he's got the job, surely, if he wants it. And apparently he has put his name officially in the process this week. So, mate, you're right. And to be completely honest, Carlton have done some weird sort of shit with this coaching role, haven't they? They brought in David Teague. It's been a train wreck. Brett Ratton. It's been a train wreck. After train wreck after train wreck. A guy who's done the hard yards this year and proven his results, just back him in. That's all you can do. You're not going to cop any flack for that from the fans, are you? He's done his audition.
I think you're going to cop flack from the fans if you don't pick him. He's got the players. Yeah. He's obviously got the strategy. He's just fucking smashed a premiership contender by 75 points. I mean, in what world can you not give him the job? It's just crazy.
Where it's corrupt, mate, and someone's got some skin in the game somewhere and the board get too involved and they bring in someone for some unbeknown reason and it divides the club. Clubs have done it over the years many, many times. Let's hope they don't repeat the same mistake.
Let's see. Nico, I've got one for you. Chippy of Ascot's thrown this one out there. Hey, mate, I've seen a Perth tipster, Sammy Slips, pop up on my Insta a lot over the last few months. She looks to be winning a bit. Can you blokes get her on the pod? Because I reckon she's out tipping everyone. And I've seen her pop up as well. Yeah. She seems to pick a lot of quaddies and multis. There's been calls to get her on this podcast. Can you tell me more about her? Because you're from Perth Racing.
The drums are beating, mate. There's no doubt about it. I guess Sammy is a young lady who has grown up in racing, has put a lot of time in on the track and covers form internationally at tracks like Shartin, for example, Happy Valley in the past, all the way through to the local meetings here at Bunbury and Perth and Ascot and Belmont. So has sort of come from nowhere really in terms of her atmospheric rise. Started with, I think, an Instagram account with a few hundred followers about 6 or so months ago to now over 4,000 or 5,000 or 6,000 tipsters that follow her every week. And you're right, she's very good on the quaddies, loves to pick sort of bigger priced winners each way rather than backing the favourites, which most people can do quite easily. And got a lot of respect for what she does. I think she's, changing the mould of the traditional tipster being an older, more senior, more seasoned bloke to a young lady who really does put a lot of time into understanding horses and finding really good price winners. And as I said a few weeks ago, I backed a multi of hers over in, I think it was Shartin, and paid 125 to 1. So yeah, not going too badly, as you might say. But that's what happens. You follow those tipsters that back them at sort of $10, $15, and you only need to win one in sort of 4 or 5, and you end up well in front. Whereas you're laying tipsters that have horses at $2 and putting big dollars on them, you can go broke pretty quickly, mate, if they're not bobbing up regularly. So yeah, 100%. I like her style.
We need to learn her secret, so we'll try and get her on the pod over the next few weeks. Maybe she can give us a multi that we can all follow and all fill the pockets together.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you're keen to see out some of her gear, obviously Robbie, she's on Instagram. Sammy Slips puts a few stories up with her best, mainly on a Saturday, right around the nation, and usually the midweeker one at Belmont there as well, which is always a good chance to follow and get the quaddie collects up on the board, mate.
Beautiful. Well, mate, love it. I think we're done for the week.
I think we are, mate. It's been a good potty. We bloody enjoyed it. And last to finish, I did say last week I'd talk about the grand final flights, and
Of course.
I'll tell you what, the missus has been doing the hard yards at home trying to find me a decent price flight that's not going to send us broke. And, mate, at this stage I'm flying through about 5 stopovers just to meet the budget. I have to spend a day in Adelaide. So I've landed on these 2 flights. So if anyone's still thinking about going over to Melbourne for the grand final, this is what you're dealing with, all right? Leaving Perth at 11:45 on the Friday night with Jetstar. Quality airline, of course. Quality airline, and arriving at 5:20 a.m. in Melbourne on grand final day. Probably have a brief sleep somewhere and then hit the pub pre-game.
Oh, you're going there grand final day.
Well, mate, if I go on the Thursday, I'm paying about $2,500 to get there. So we'll take you through the rates in a minute. And then on the Tuesday following, I can leave at 6:20 a.m. and get back to Perth at 8:30. So I've had a nice chance to nurse the Freo hangover on a Sunday and a Monday. And that's going to set me back about $1,600, mate, with a nice little red-eye flight on the Friday and a flight back on the Tuesday. Both flights around $750 there. So there are still some around. They're not. I was being told you're paying $4,000 or $5,000. You aren't. You've just got to go out of your comfort zone a little bit to try and find something that's reasonable. But if you want to get there and you want to see your team and you don't want that FOMO, you're going to find $1,500 out of your tax return to get it done, I reckon, mate, aren't you?
100%. Actually, I should tell you, me and Alana, we were going to go across to the grand final this year. We had our flights booked and everything, but when I copped my redundancy, it was about the day we were going to pay for a package, and we decided to bail out on it in the end. But I've still got my Jetstar flights to actually go to the grand final.
Okay, so listener questions next week is how many people think Robbie should get on board the Freo train and join me at grand final weekend in Melbourne? I think there'll be a lot of support, mate. There's a lot of groundswell of support for that, mate. Sorry about that. That'll be good content.
So tell me then, because we were gonna buy packages that include through West Coast. Weirdly enough, they do a grand final breakfast and then they have tickets to go along to the game along with it. So that's what we were going to do. That was going to cost us, I think it was about $2.5 a pop. It was a big amount of money. And that was 2 months ago now that we decided not to. How are you going to get grand final tickets? What are you looking at?
I've got a multiple hustles, mate. Some former employers there at the AFL have got a few options for me there to pick up some seats. I have done the grand final, breakfast, the lunch, the Premiership Club experience a few times and working on the East Coast. So I'm pretty keen just to get out there amongst the people, ease the pre-game nerves at the Young and Jackson in the city there, or a few pints at the bar and just get there for the game. So I've got a couple of options, mate, some with the family, some with some former employers. So just weighing them all up at the moment, seeing where I kind of want to head, mate. Depends what kind of form I'm in, I guess, too.
Love it. All right, well, I look forward to an update on where you're at next week. Hopefully we can get Nick Ristovic to the grand final. I think it's pretty important when your team's in there that we can get you across. Yeah,
it'll be a full social media Instagram takeover, mate, on the Punt Pals page in the lead up. So stay tuned for that, at least.
I'm here for it. And on that note, mate, let's say goodbye. You have a great week and we'll be back again at it next week.
Cheers, mate. Thanks, everyone, for listening. Love the support. Get us a follow on all the local social pages and make sure you get on Spotify and get those tips and bets on for the weekend.
Bloody well said, and all the best with the punt this weekend.
Pals where the game begins. Betting on sports with our expert experience. From football fields to courtside drills. Punt Pals podcast, we pay the bills.
Very well done to you. You've made it through another episode of Punt Pals podcast. Thanks for your support once again.
If you could follow us on the socials, that'd be super. Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, we're everywhere, and we're always the first port to call for all your tips and mail for the weekend's racing and sports.
Also, get around us on streaming platforms, subscribing to the pod, and also giving us some good reviews. It doesn't actually even take 30 seconds. It's very easy to do, so please do it. Subscribe.
Get around us, and we'll, of course, catch you again next week on Punt Pals podcast. Same time and place. Good luck on the punt.